Tell your mama, tell your friend. I am here, willing and able to start you guys off with a happy hump day, Wednesday motivational message of the day. So good morning, come on in. How are you guys doing this Wednesday morning? I hope your week is going beautifully thus far. I hope everyone had a day full of love yesterday. To all who choose to celebrate Valentine's Day, I know it was amazing for me. It was just a beautiful day, just because I wanted it to be that way. Not that I am in a relationship, a romantic relationship with anyone, but I was just loving on myself and spreading some positivity and some love, and that is always a good thing. So good morning, come on in here. Happy hump day, everyone. I have a motivational message for you guys today, but before we jump right on in, let's just take a couple moments to reflect on our blessings and everything that God has done for us. Maybe take a couple deep breaths and just be grateful for this beautiful Wednesday morning. Don't that feel good? Just put like peace all over you. Speak peace over yourself. Speak blessings over yourself. Speak positivity over yourself. Think good thoughts. Thoughts become things, so the things that you think about will definitely manifest in one way or another. So you want to be very mindful of the things that you allow to go through your thoughts on the regular basis. So thank you all for taking just a moment of reflecting on our blessings. I feel like that is an amazing way to start your day, and that is just for anyone. So today I want to talk about overcoming addiction, and I want to tell you why. So of course I come to you guys, and I come to you live, and I upload motivational videos. That's what I started to say, because I do a lot of that on my YouTube channel. But but I also serve the community as well. So I did a live video last week, Wednesday morning, and I went out to serve my community. And one of the centers that I went into said, they asked me to speak on addiction, but I had already had a message prepared, and I was like fumbling through, because I did do a message on addiction before, a while ago, before the fraternity at Delaware State University, which was amazing, but that was like months ago. So I was like, oh my goodness, and I'm fumbling through my stuff. And the reason why they asked me is because they said there has been a lot of overdoses lately, in our community. I don't know how many people are aware of that. I'm sure that it's happening everywhere, but here in Dover, up here where I live at, it has become an issue, a lot lately. So even some of the faces that I have been used to seeing, coming back and forth, like I will never see again. And it was really heartbreaking, so I couldn't find my notes on addiction last week when they brought that to my attention, but I did promise them this week that when they see me this week, I will have my notes already and prepared and ready to deliver a message on overcoming addiction, something that I am also familiar with. I am so grateful for where the Lord has me today, by the grace of God. Lord willing, this year, the end of this year in October, I will be celebrating 10 years clean and sober from drugs and alcohol, and it just feels so good to be able to say that. So and also, just give you a different perspective on addiction, because sometimes we may have a strong hold on us and not realize the severity of it, just because it doesn't come in a substance of drugs or alcohol, and we fool ourselves into believing that, well, at least I'm not, shooting a needle up my arm or taking pills or, drinking. So, some of us may allow ourselves to believe that we are not as bad as the substance abuse addict, when any kind of addiction will literally take you under. So that is just the reality of it. So overcoming addiction. So I wrote down a definition to addiction. I don't want to talk to anybody like they stupid or anything like that, but I look into these things just for, not only for you guys to have a better understanding of what I am talking about, but just for the sake of my own sanity as well, because I hate going through things or reading through things, or get into any information. Even if I'm reading a book and I come across a word and I don't know the meaning of the word, I will stop and look that word up so I can have a better understanding of what I'm reading, for my own sake. You don't want to just be reading just to be reading. You definitely want to get something out of it. So I wrote down the definition to addiction, and it says a neurophysiological disorder. Neurophysiological is just basically a study of brain function. It's a bunch of scientists or psychologists or neurologists, and they come together as actually neurology and psychology, and they just put that word together. So, and it basically means brain function. So, addiction is a psychological, excuse me, y'all, a neuropsychological disorder characterized by a persistent and intense urge to engage in certain behaviors. So, you are very, this, we can become very persistent and intense and having an urge and engaging in certain behaviors, which can be anything. So, it's just something that happens to us mentally, that can become out of control. So that is what I got out of that definition. Basically things that are going on inside of our brains that we need to learn how to gain control of. So we got that out the way. That was very important, so we can know what we are talking about here. So addiction comes in many forms. This is a fact. I'm gonna read a couple facts that I wrote about addiction, that stood out most to me, that I felt like is important for all of us to know. Addiction comes in many forms. None is better or worse than the other. Either way, you are allowing yourself to be controlled by something. So like I said, sometimes we think, or whatever we have going on with us, may not be as bad as what someone else has going on with them, just because it looks different. But you never want to allow anything to control you. Like you just don't. So just be mindful of what you may consider addiction, because you may be addicted to something right now, and just because it looks different from what someone else is going through, you might not be taking it as seriously as you need to. And eventually, sooner or later, these things may very well take control over your entire life. I mean, it will take you completely out of here. So I have seen it happen. Even close friends of mine. I don't want to put nobody on blast, especially people who are not here and alive anymore, but I have just witnessed people from a close perspective, just from a close clear as eye view, allow themselves to be sucked into things, and it has literally taken their lives away from them. So just be careful. And it wasn't drugs. So I'm just saying, be careful and be mindful of the things that you do and how much control these things may have on you. So a second fact that I wrote on addiction is that um addiction is unpredictable and it can happen to anyone. So I'm trying to help somebody this morning. I know all of us weren't raised like that. No, mamas taught us better than that and all that kind of stuff, and you good, like, you doing whatever you doing and you good. But listen, it is unpredictable, and these are facts that I'm telling you right now. Addiction is unpredictable and it can happen to anyone. So my third fact is addiction is a disease that is completely treatable. So no matter what it is, don't think that you have gone so far that you can't pull back. So I'm gonna stick to my notes, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I did write down some tips for overcoming addiction. Number one, you have to want to quit. That is one thing that I can personally relate with my own experiences. I wanted so badly for it to be over with. I mean, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Some people just have accepted this part of their life, that, they don't want to quit, or some people feel like they can't quit, which is a lie. I have had somebody tell me that I was like a rare 1 in a million case, and that never happens to anyone. That is so not true. It can happen for anyone who is willing, ready, and able to put forth the work and gain power back over their life and not be controlled by anything. So like I said, you have to want to quit. That is number one on my list, and I felt that. I felt that one in my shining eye, because I just remember so many times, time and time again, that I just literally begged God to take that monkey off of me. So never look back. You cannot look back. You ain't going that way. What you looking back for? If you are doing whatever that you need to do to move forward, and you are putting old ways behind you, and you are looking forward, moving forward, not doing the things that you used to do in the past, it is so important that you make it a point to never look back. You know what I had to tell myself? I don't owe it a single solitary thing. Listen, it is what it is. If I owe you some money, sorry. I don't owe the game nothing. I don't owe the streets nothing. I dedicated my life to living, because I could have died out there. So, I don't care what kind of excuses that you try to make to go back for whatever reason. You don't have to. You don't need to. If you're moving forward with your life and you want to put certain ways behind you, then just continue to move forward. That's just like you trying to drive, and of course the rear view mirror is there for a reason, but you can only glimpse in it briefly, and that's just to keep you out of harm's way. But you can't drive forward looking backwards, or even focusing too much on the rear view mirror, because it's not there to guide you forward along the way in the direction that you really need to go. Just keep moving forward. That is very important. Number three, my third tip on overcoming addiction is get a fresh, brand new start. That is one thing that I did for myself that I am so glad that I did. And let me tell you, like, it wasn't easy. It was a whole lot of scraping and struggling, and that they had to go along with it. But when I look at my life and where my life is now, if I hadn't worked so hard to get where I am, I don't even want to think about where I could possibly still be. Like, it was worth every struggle. It was just worth it. I literally uprooted my children, my family, from one state to another. I didn't even have an address. when I moved to the state of Delaware, but I knew I had to get away from certain people, certain places, certain things. I needed a brand new start, just for the sake of my life. And not only, people that I used to hang with and all that kind of stuff, but my family members too. The negative talk and the down talk. How could you try to better yourself and you got all of this like right around the corner and in your ear and all this kind of stuff? And like it just would have been impossible for me. Y'all might be strong enough to, and matter of fact, I ain't even gonna lie to you, you're not. Because you are not strong enough to fight through the temptation, through the negative talk and all that kind of stuff. The mind can be very tricked easily, and it can be very weak. If you got somebody in your ear telling you what you can't do and looking down to you and treating you like you less than, and you're still hanging around the same people, and you like, well, I quit and y'all still doing this, eventually you going to go back to doing it too. Bad company corrupts good character. If you hang around 5 monkeys, you will become the 6th. You will be down there and scratching up under your arms and doing a monkey dance just like everybody else. So you have to change your environment, the people that you hang around. This is only for the people who want to start a fresh, brand new life. Now, I don't want to talk to everyone like addiction is a serious problem for them or whatever. Everybody has their own struggles. But even if you are one person who has been stuck in the same situation year after year, doing the same thing, your life is not changing. Even in fact, if it's getting worse, you need to not only change your environment from the outside, you need to work on yourself from the inside, and you need to change the things around you as well. So, listen, you have to get a fresh, brand new start. Start from scratch. Move out that house that that you grew up in, that been in your family for years, that so many things happen up under that roof that you can't even talk about and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes a change in the environment gives you a change mentally. So it really did something for me. I mean, I took off like a rocket. I don't want to put nobody on blast, but husband at the time ain't want to act right. When we moved to Delaware, clip, he had to go too. Like anybody could have went at that point. We moved here together. We were still married together, living under the same roof, everything when we moved here. But eventually it did not end that way because obviously we were headed in different directions, but I had to continue to move forward. Had I still been in the city of Philadelphia, the state of Pennsylvania, would I have been strong enough to walk away from people and things that did not serve a better future for myself and for my kids? I don't know, and probably not. I probably would still be in a relationship that did not serve me. I probably would not even be doing as well as I am doing right now. So a fresh, brand new start worked miracles in my life for me. So, I mean, that's just my personal experience. And my 4th tip on overcoming addiction is truly learn how to love yourself. A person that loves themselves would not just allow themselves to fall off the handle like that. We are human. We make mistakes. We fall into temptation, into sin, and all of that kind of stuff. It happens. We have to forgive ourselves and move on. But when that self-love starts growing, like I couldn't even believe that I tormented myself like that. I damaged myself. I allowed myself to be dragged through the mud for years, and a lot of pain and suffering that I suffered was self-inflicted pain and suffering. Like I was doing it to myself. But when I learned how to love myself more, I was like, wow, like I'm just way too, like I'm a big deal for real. Like I can't just be doing that to myself. So I am so glad that part of my life is over. So my best advice to anyone is to never allow yourself to be controlled by anything or anyone. You have to learn how to have control over your own life. I have to learn how to have control over my life. Once that thing is start off like, like I can handle it or whatever, or it ain't that bad, or, what, it can be a relationship. You can be controlled by a relationship. Love is a beautiful thing. Love is the most strongest emotion in the world, but you can be overpowered by what you think is love, and it can be literally destroying you. See, y'all, I'm telling you, y'all think addiction is one thing, and it can literally be, you might not even be looking at it as addiction because it don't look like what they talk about everywhere, the opioid addicts and the alcoholics and the cocaine addicts and the crackheads and all that kind of stuff. Listen, you can be cracked out on something and you don't even know that you cracked out, and I'm just telling you the truth about it. So we can't allow ourselves to be controlled. We have to learn how to have control over our own lives, our life, and our destiny in the direction that we go. And on the regular basis is totally and completely up to us. And every single little thing that you do on a regular basis, down to the smallest thing, is going to have a major effect on what your future is going to look like. So you might think, oh, it's just one cigarette or one this or one little bit of this or food, whatever. You might think it's just something so minor, but the little positive things that we do for ourselves on a regular basis has a major effect on our lives as well. So it goes both ways. It's just all in the way. It's just all in what you want for yourself. So, as soon as you feel yourself being sucked in, you got to get up out of there. Like your behind is on fire, because it is just that serious. I don't care what it is. If you got one too many of the same shirts in your closet, I ain't know I bought that one, boo-boo. You got a problem, because your bank account ain't seeing that, and you don't need it, and you got, why are you on Amazon and you ordering the same shirt that you got 4 of, and you talking about I got them in the same color, now you got 3 black ones and a brown one and the tan one. You know what I'm saying? It's just becoming a problem at this point, and you don't even see it this way just because you're not on opioids. Okay, see where you would end up in the future if you don't recognize your problem as being a problem and learn how to rectify it before it has complete control over your life in the direction that you are going in. Too much of anything can have a devastating and damaging effect on our lives. That is anything. I don't care what it is. We have to learn how to be balanced. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Too much money. Some people just don't even need it. Too much sex. Too much food, too much shopping, too much drugs, too much alcohol. It will have a damaging effect on your life. And we minimize these things because we say, oh, it ain't that bad. Too much social media exposure. I love jumping on social media from time to time too. Some days I allow myself more time on social media than others. Some days I don't get on social media at all. You know why? Because I care about my brain. I care about the things that I allow into my, what's this word? Neuropsychological. Inside of my head, I just don't want all that stuff that y'all be talking about on social media and a bunch of bull crap that don't even matter. You put something positive on social media, everybody scroll past it like they don't see it, and then you put something negative on social media, and you got like, share and all that kind of stuff. That stuff is noticeable, y'all. Noticeable. Y'all can be some negative Nancy's, and that go for males and females, and I don't care if you get offended or not, but it's very noticeable that negative things can go viral. Even if it don't go viral, it can be like anybody can put something up negative and positive, and the negative will just blow the positive right out the box. So that is one reason why I keep my mind off of social media, and I will deliberately put my head in a book, or something healthy, or something that is going to serve me better in the future, because a lot of people don't realize. My sister told me that Instagram and TikTok was being sued because these kids were becoming suicidal. I'm like, what in the what? Because they put up certain stuff and they don't get no views or likes and all of that kind of stuff, and it makes them feel less than and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow. But I experienced it, firsthand, that your own family will, how many family members I got on social media, half of them haven't subscribed to my page or don't like, view, or share any of my content at all. But it is what it is. But when you got feeble-minded children, that really does something to them psychologically. Like, these kids really out here wanting to kill themselves because they're not getting the attention that they are seeking, that they probably think they should get. Like, there's probably parents out here that's looking right past, that's not even acknowledging their own kids. On social media, I say stuff about my kids all the time, even my adult children. I talk about their accomplishments, and I will put them on blast on social media in a minute because I'm so proud of them and I love them. I talk about their birthdays. I don't put their personal business on social media, but social media can be very damaging. Like, your child could be going through something from social media and you don't even know what your child is going through. One thing I do respect about my twin sister is that she takes devices from her daughters, and she does not allow them to be on social media all the time. She allows them time to be creative and do other things with themselves, because she know the damages the damages of that, and I don't think that's a bad idea for anyone. So, like I said, too much of anything can have a devastating and damaging effect on anyone. So we are talking about how to overcome addiction this morning. I feel like this is such a timely message. It is still the beginning of the year, guys. I know y'all probably sick of me saying that, but it is. Like, it's mid-February, but it's still only February. So if it's something that you started out, wanting to do, you want to put some old ways behind you, you feel like certain things have had control over your life for way too long, I just really recommend this message for anybody, and don't close your mind. Be teachable this morning. So allow some of this information in, because you never know how it may help you. So I heard this. I went to Narcotics Anonymous before, and I heard them say this in the rooms, that's what they say, in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. I put myself away. I did inpatient rehab, and I just tried and tried and tried and tried until eventually the Lord just lifted that stronghold off of me, and I felt it instantly the day that it was over, and I called it on the date, and I was like, wow, this is it. And I was just so grateful. So this is what they say in the rooms of NA. They said addiction will take you places that you don't want to go, and it will keep you longer than you want to stay. So real quick, I just want to give you guys just a quick a little insight on my personal experience with addiction. So as a teenager, I started drinking and smoking weed with my friends. It was all fun and games. I'm trying to keep this as quick as possible. And it was all fun and games, in the beginning, smoking cigarettes. We sat out all night. We hung out until the sun came up and all of that kind of stuff. And it was all fun and games. When I turned 20, my father passed away. birthday, when I turned 20 years old. That was very devastating to me. And that was the year I was introduced to powder, cocaine. So I snorted powder for at least 10 years. And between, so I stopped using powder. I put myself in rehab after like maybe 5 or 6 years of snorting powder. And in rehab, I became addicted to pills. So I was like, wow. So I just turned it from one thing into another. So I came home from inpatient rehab. I think I did like 30 days inside of rehab. You know, I asked my family to look after my children, which I am very grateful for them doing that. But I did. I came home from rehab, addicted to pills. So I wasn't snorting powder no more, but then I was taking pills. But eventually I got back up, and then I wasn't drinking. So I stopped drinking, stopped snorting powder, and I started taking pills, which the pills became out of control. But after a while, I started back snorting powder, back drinking, and I was taking pills. So it was like a triple whammy. And that was like after rehab. So I was like, no, no, no. But the worst of my addiction, aside from me hanging out and drinking and smoking weed as a teenager, the worst of my addiction was literally like a 10-year span. So, you know, I really saw the worst of it within 10 years. Like it fell on me like a ton of bricks. And I don't even see how, because I thought I could never ever stop. I thought I could never live my life outside of addiction. Like I thought that would literally be a part of my life forever. If you would have told me back then that my life was going to be what it is right now, me completely free of drugs and alcohol altogether, I'd be like, well, you're lying. Like, what is going to help me? What is going to support? Like, what am I going to do mentally to try to focus? To try to deal with myself on a regular basis. There's so many lies that we tell ourselves to keep ourselves hooked on these things that we really don't need. Even when I stopped smoking cigarettes. So this past January, I believe it was 3 years. 7 years. I'm sorry, 7 years since I stopped smoking cigarettes. And I told myself when I stopped drinking and then when I stopped using drugs that at least I still got my cigarettes. So I swore for God that them cigarettes was not going anywhere. I was like, listen, well, at least I let this go. At least I let that go. Y'all gonna give me my cigarettes. But God just saw it another way. I cold turkey. Like, just like I pick. And this is one thing that I tell everybody too. Just like you start, that's how you gotta quit. Just like you picked it up, put it right down. Ain't no point of prolonging it or allowing yourself a little bit at a time. Or I didn't have no gum, no patch, none of that. I never, ever went back and smoked another cigarette after that day that I decided in my mind that I was going to stop smoking cigarettes. That was it. I just completely stopped. So the worst of it for whoever that is struggling with nicotine addiction, or who may want to live their lives beyond being in a relationship with nicotine, because that's what I said about myself. I was in like a 20+ year relationship with nicotine. I started smoking cigarettes when I was a kid. So the worst part of it is true. Like after the 7th day, your body starts to look for that nicotine. And for most people, it looks for it in your eyeballs. So it just like felt like it was like needles stabbing me in my eyeballs, or like felt like my eyeballs wanted to bulge out. But that was literally one day. So like you good until like that 7th day, when like the nicotine is completely exiting your body. And then when it can't find it anymore on that 7th day, you will feel some discomfort. But after that one day of, like, okay, there's no nicotine here, you good. Like, you good. Like, and I think my sister told me that. She was like, just be mindful of that seventh day. So I looked out for that seventh day. I was like, okay, fifth day, sixth day, here comes the seventh day. And it was true. My body searched for that nicotine, and I didn't give in to that discomfort, and I made it past that seventh day. And here I am 7 years later, and I still have not smoked a cigarette. So I'm so glad that I didn't get emotional, just giving you guys a backdrop on my personal experience with addiction, because this is really one that hits home. Like, you looking at somebody that been to hell and back on a handbasket twice. Like, it was no fun at all. Like, it starts all fun, all sin does, when the mistress is sleeping with the husband. She knows she ain't got no business. You ain't got no business laying with that woman's husband. It's fun in the beginning until it all blows up out of control. Sin is fun, and doing things that we shouldn't do is fun in the beginning, but after a while, when you are doing things that is going to have a devastating effect on your health and on your life, it is really time for you to reconsider the things that you are doing on the regular basis. I was listening to a lot of Kobe, Mamba mentality. Like, that's my man. Rest up to Kobe. I just respect him. Kobe Bryant. I don't even know. You can't even label his success in a nutshell. Like, he was an amazing basketball player. He was a leader. He was a teacher. He's a motivator. I think he was doing movies. Like, he did a whole lot with Disney movies and stuff like that, where he played the character's voice and all that kind of stuff. I believe he got one of his daughters involved. But like, Kobe just did so much, and I didn't realize how hard this man worked. Like, we was all mad at the Lakers because they used to knock everybody out the box, and we thought that Kobe was like this superhuman, and he wasn't. Like, that man worked hard. From, like, he said he started playing basketball when he was 2 years old, and he did everything that he could possibly do in his power to become the amazing basketball player that he was. Like, so I just really look into a whole lot. I look into Kobe's mind. I want to know what he was thinking. Like, how did you become so amazing? So I learned a lot from Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul. Him and his daughter died in a tragic plane wreck, and but his inspiration and his life and his legacy will live on forever. So I was learning a lot about the Mamba mentality, and that's one thing that he called himself, Mamba. And one thing that he said that stood out to me is, accept your fears and do something about it. A lot of times when we are afraid to quit, and we are afraid to move on, and we are afraid to live our lives without addiction and all this kind of stuff, he said, don't act like you ain't scared. So this is Kobe. He like, don't act like a fear is not a fear. Face it. Like, walk up to your fears, face it, look your fears in the eye, and do something about it. This is what Kobe Bryant said. So it was so much that he said about just bringing out the best with inside of yourself. If you guys had time to jump on YouTube and look up some Mamba mentality motivational videos, I suggest anyone to look that up, because he is truly inspiration. So accepting your fears, that is one thing that we had to do. A lot of things that I was terrified of before is not even a thing in my world anymore. So I created all these fears in my own mind, and I told myself all this stuff that I couldn't do. Like, at the end of the day, addiction is just mental. It is just things that are going on in your mind when you know that you are going through pure hell behind the things that has this stronghold on you. And for whatever reason, you talk yourself into not living a better life and not putting these bad habits behind you, and you feel like you have to. And in all reality, you don't. So, I looked up I was looking up studies on addiction, and I read that most addicts has been studies show that most addicts has been traumatized as children and use things in substances as a way to escape suffering. So let me read that again. Most addicts has been traumatized as children and use things and substances as a way to escape suffering. Me personally, in my case, that is true for me. You know, I cannot speak for everyone, but you know, like I said, I told you I have a very powerful testimony. Me overcoming drugs and alcohol is just one part of my testimony, but I had a very traumatizing childhood. I am a childhood survivor of childhood molestation. That is a part of my testimony. Just so many things that I had to go through as a child, and not even just only sexual molestation. I went through physical, abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. I had it rough coming up as a child, so I really had to rebuild myself from scratch. So what you are witnessing today is a brand new me, and this is just simply because I chose a better life for myself. I was not comfortable with the way that I was living, regardless to what happened to me as a child. I did not want to settle there. No, I didn't deserve the abuse that I suffered. No, I did not deserve to be molested. That behavior is inexcusable. It does not matter. I did not deserve to be abused. I did not deserve to be verbally abused or down talked in any kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. What child deserves to be mentally abused, physically, emotionally, sexually abused in any way as a child? It's just inexcusable. So, but I still, even with all of that being said, I wanted so much to have a better life for myself. And like, what am I going to do? Let my abusers win my life? If it was up to them, I would still be, in the place where they had me. Now, in their minds, they probably will see me as, whatever, lower than them, or belittle me, or even have not so nice things to say about me. And they probably will feel that way about me forever, which is fine. But I am not going to give you the authority or power to control my destiny or the direction of my entire life. Today, I take control over my life. If I would allow them to have their way, they would be still satisfied with me being stuck on drugs. Well, my kids are doing amazingly well at this point, which I am so grateful and proud of that, because despite of everything that I had to go through, I was still able to be the mother that God wanted me to be. My kids have made some major accomplishments. Our situation could have just been so much worse all the way around. I have 5 sons and 2 daughters, and they are all doing well. That brings tears to my eyes alone. But you can't let your haters win. Like, if you want to do it for anything, do it for that. Like, take control over your own life. It don't matter what nobody got to say about you, or where they got you set up in society or in life, or even in their own mind. They say when your haters sleep on you, give them a pillow and a blanket. And that's just what you got to do, because you can shock the hell out of the world and make something amazing amazing out of yourself. And that is the path that I choose on today. So I'm grateful to be able to even say those words out of my mouth. But you know, even with all of that trauma and everything that we had to go through, we have to heal from our traumas. You got to get down to the source of it, and you have to heal. Masking it with drugs or alcohol or porn or shopping or, you know, whatever, lies, or living this fairy tale lie about you know, what you fantasize your life to be. Like, you can really make your life as amazing as you want it to be. Addiction is also used as an attempt to solve problems. People use it because they have deep emotional problems that needs to be solved. You cannot mask it. Like, that problem ain't going nowhere if you just mask it with substances. That problem is not going anywhere if you do not heal. Yeah, you wake and bake, you get up and smoke your blunt or pop your pills or drink or whatever that you need to do to try to cover up what's really going on the inside, but that is just temporary gratification. It is temporary. It does not last. You have to get down to the source of what is really going on with you so you won't continue to have these problems for the rest of your life. Some people die devastatingly horrible and disappointing ways. Like, we can't you know, control, say if we in an accident or something like that. Things like that just happen. But some people die of overdose. Some people die of poverty, just living a life below you know, what they really deserve to live. And that is because of the choices that we make in life. Like, the rest of your life can be the best of your life, basically. And you just have to make the decisions to do the things that you need to do to live a worthy life, live a great life. We have to take time out to heal. I know that seems just like so far away and like such a shot in the dark for so many people, but as a person who God has allowed to heal on so many levels, healing is possible and you can do it. All you have to do is take your time out to deal with it. Some of us don't even like to get down to the source of what is really going on with us. But what do you think is going to happen if you don't acknowledge what is going on with you? You have to get down to the source of these things so we don't mask them, we don't cover them up, or we don't try to numb them, you know, with temporary gratification. That does not last. Healing lasts. Like, healing, like things that I took my time out to work on within and heal from years ago is still in is still healed. You know, we're still in healing mode. Like, some things that hurt me before in the past don't even have the chance of coming close to hurting me right now or even in my future, because I allowed myself to get down to the source of the things that I had to heal from, and I allowed myself to be able to heal. So get down to the source of it and heal. That is one of the best ways that you will have a great life ahead of you. Compulsive behavior: thoughts, urges, or behaviors that persist despite negatively affecting the negative effects that it has on you. You know, compulsive behavior, it just doesn't serve you. Like, once you start doing something and it becomes, you know, out of control, then this behavior, it gets worse, it persists, it has a negative effect on your health and your job and your relationships and your life. Like, so you have to be mindful of compulsive behavior. You cannot allow things to have such a hold on you that you that it is having this effect on your life. If you're noticing your finances or your spiritual health, you're not being connected with God or your higher power, you're not praying enough, your health is being affected, you're either losing weight drastically or you're gaining weight drastically. If you are going if you can't keep a job, you going from job to job to job, or your relationships is having a devastating effect. You need to reevaluate what is going on in your life, because there just may be something going on that you need to pay close attention to. So, be mindful of compulsive behavior. You may have some compulsive behavior going on with you, even right now, that you just did not notice as compulsive behavior. Compulsive behaviors will turn into addictions and they will become out of control. There is no such thing as a functional addict. It just does not exist. A functional addict just does not exist. Someone tried to convince me that they were a functional addict when I first met them. And I was like, oh, okay, because even from what I have experienced and what I have learned over the years, there is no way of being a functional addict. It is just not, it is not a thing. You think you are functioning and being addicted to something out of control. Those two words are like an oxymoron. Being functional and having an addiction to something literally contradicts each other. So anyone who you think, oh, they can go to work and get up and drink a 6-pack for breakfast, and they've been holding down that job for 20 years and drinking a 6-pack for 20 years, but you're gonna die 20 years sooner than probably what you probably would have died, because you are taking in alcohol for breakfast. There's just no such thing as being a functional addict. I don't care how you look at it, how you perceive these things, what lies you might try to tell yourself to convince yourself that you are being functional and being addicted to something at the same time. One way or another, these things will have complete control over your life and the direction that your life goes in. And even the person who tried to convince me that they were a functional addict, it really showed how functional they were not in the things that they chose to do in life. Like I said, there's no such thing as a functional addict. I don't care who try to act like they are, but they are not. I said this before, too much of anything is no good. So, if you know that you are doing something, and sometimes you might catch yourself doing it, or just going out of your way to do it or get it, or like if you know that you have behaviors that are beyond your control, you might want to look at your life in the direction that your life is going in. It may be having more of a devastating effect on your life than what you actually realize that it is. My weed smokers, listen, I love y'all to death. I'm telling y'all, no judgment zone here at all. But you got these people who smoke 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blunts a day, and your life is nowhere near where you want it to be. You are scraping up money or borrowing money, or if you want to enjoy a little marijuana, every now and again, then that is your prerogative. You are an adult person. But if you can't smoke a half a blunt today and a half a blunt tomorrow, and focus on your priorities, your children, your finances, generational wealth, being a healthier person, and all of that kind of stuff, then you might want to reconsider yourself being a weed addict. Like, weed addicts is really a thing, and I think people, they minimize it because it's not crack or it's not coke, or it's not pills, or it's not alcohol. They minimize the use of marijuana because they don't look like a crackhead and all that kind of stuff. But you look like a something head because you out here looking crazy. That weed got you looking crazy and you don't even know it. So, I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all because I know I see too many people, even people that I know personally, loved ones, that be out here smoking weed from sun up to sundown, and they don't see, just like they saw the effect that my addiction was having on my life. I see the effect that weed is having on some of you guys' life too, and it's not pretty. We could have so much more going on for ourselves, and we waste our time doing things like that. And at the end of the day, it is just not worth it. And that's with anything. I don't want to just point out my weed heads, but that's just with anything. Maybe you need to cut down on the weed. Maybe you need to cut down on the cigarettes. Maybe you need to cut down on the food or the smoking, or, maybe you just need to cut down on it and do something that is going to have a great positive effect on your future. And that goes for anybody under any circumstances and anything that may have a negative effect on your life. Addiction is real. It is not for anybody. I believe everybody should have control over their life and the direction that their lives go in on the regular basis. We've all experienced someone in our family, even if not us personally. We have all experienced someone who have struggled with addiction in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It may be us, even if we don't want to admit it. You may be struggling with some form of addiction yourself. And if you don't everything that goes on in the dark will eventually come to light. You ever see that one person and then eventually it all starts to fall apart and you like, wow, I didn't even know that they were going through all of that because they tried to hide it for so many years until it surfaced. Now, everything that you have been struggling with is all out in the open, but you don't want to make a example out of yourself. You want to recognize your own flaws. You want to point out the areas that you need work in, whatever healing or whatever you have to do for yourself to live an amazingly incredible life, the life that you so deserve. Start working on some things that may have a stronghold on you so your future can go in a positive direction. So Of course, I have my quotes. I wrote down one quote by a woman named Marianne Williamson. So Marianne Williamson is an American author, a spiritual leader. She wrote 4 books, which 4 of them are bestseller New York Times. So very intelligent woman, great inspiration to many people across the world. I have not personally read any of her books or looked into the things that she's good at, but maybe I will consider doing that. But I do like to look up people and their great accomplishments when I come before you with quotes and things that they have said. So Marianne Williamson, quote unquote, said, "Light is to darkness what love is to fear. In the presence of one, the other disappears." So I like that quote because she said light is to darkness. And that really stood out to me because when I was stuck in my addiction, I was in a really dark place in my life, and when you are in a dark place, I heard someone say trying to remove the dark from out of a room is insane. You will look like a crazy person trying to get rid of dark. Like if you were in a dark room, or if you walk in a room and all the lights are off, you can't say get out dark. You have to just present the light. into a dark place. And that so ministers to my spirit and my life and everything that I had to grow through. I just had to bring light into the darkness. I was in a very dark place. Like I said before, I didn't even know that self-love was a thing. I wasn't taught to love myself. I had to learn how to love myself over the years. So she said, in the presence of one, the other disappears. So if you are in a dark place of your life, you don't have to stay there. You can bring some light into your world. You can bring some light into your situation. You can bring some light into whatever that you are going through. You can educate yourself. You can heal. You can forgive yourself from your past mistakes, and you can always move on to a better future. So I want you to say this to yourself today. You know, I always have to give you guys homework to do. So say this to yourself today. You know, it is always good to speak positive things over yourself and over your life. Say, today I am free from whatever is holding me. Today I am free. Free yourself. Everything starts in the mind. You have to say these things to yourself mentally. Speak these words over yourself out of your mouth. Today I am free from whatever is holding me. Today I am free. Free yourself mentally, because you know what's going to happen when you begin to free yourself mentally. You will be free physically. So I want you to say that to yourself, and I also want you to say, I control my life and my destiny. Because you do. You control your life, the way that your life, the direction that your life is headed in, the life that you will live from this point forward. It is going to be a direct result of everything that you do right now, everything that you take into your body right now, every thought that you think, every word that you speak out of your mouth, everything that you do to yourself on the regular basis, for yourself on the regular basis. I mean, you can be one of those people who like to work out, who like to read. These things are going to benefit you. Like I said, I don't want to just dwell on the negative things. I want us to think about some positive things that we can do for ourselves on the regular basis that is going to have an amazing effect on what our life is going to look like in the future. So that is it, you guys. Thank you to everyone who jumped in on my live this morning. I'm live on Facebook. I'm live on Instagram. I'm over here, got my video going for my YouTube channel. So, you know, I'm sorry I can't get to you all's comments and everything like that. It's just that I have so many devices going, and I just want to stay focused because I am so easily sidetracked. But I love you guys and I appreciate you. I hope that message helps somebody this morning. Share it with someone who you think it may be beneficial to. So I will be back on Friday with another message, you guys. Friday morning, catch me live 8 a.m. In the meantime, you guys go out here and get over this hump. It is Wednesday. The week is almost over. I love you guys. God bless you all. In the meantime, you continue to stay blessed.